Hello. Let me know if you can hear and see, as usual. Hey, Juad! Boxy Paint, hi guys! This week's topic may be exactly what I need right now. Oh no. Howdy y'all. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. Yeah, not too bad so far. I mean, we're a bit earlier than you guys, so still pretty early on, but yeah. Hey, Jen! Hello! Take a moment to clear up my drying rack for brushes. Right. Sorry. So how is everyone today? It's kind of hot today, so we had like super nice cold weather a couple of days ago. Now it's sort of getting hot again, and I'm like, no, no, please, no. Hemi and Bear had to rough and tumble and smooshed about 30 lithups. So I had a moment, but have found the set. Oh no! How did they manage to do that? They really hate plants, right? Is it Emmy who especially hates the lithups? They were smooshed. They seem so sturdy though. They seem like dense, like all the other what's the word for these like super fat leaves plant? Crassulo. Crassulo. Like succulents. Well, I need better music in my ears. What do I? Oh. Oh. Alright, sorry. rolling back. Whee! They were in the window, and as far as I can tell, they must have flew and bounced off the cat protector screen and took half the plants in the window. Oh no! These were babies and only just splitting for the very first time. Aww! So was very, very cross and needed some alone time. Oh no, I'm so sorry. You're having, like, awful luck with those lithups. Like, this is not the first lithup related accident, right? They look so odd, those little plants. I don't know if I'm creeped out by them or if I find them awesome. I'm kind of stuck between these two options. So I put some better music in my ears. It's all good, but for reals, they are really difficult little guys. The cats or the plants? Both? I've lost 3 batches of seedlings, 2 big potters of babies. Oh, I'm so sorry. Dang, you get all the points for like perseverance though. I don't have plants indoors. I know some people are like really shocked by that, but first of all, I have cats. Second of all, plants can have bugs in them. And I mean, living in a basement, we have enough bugs already. We have like spiders and house centipede and moths. Those are the worst though. Fucking moths. Flies, like everybody has flies. The moment you bring bananas into your place, you're gonna end up with flies at some point. Like, I'm not speaking in like in terms of like it being an infestation of anything, but it's just, you know, those critters, they like the basements. Convince myself that it just freed up some space. Well, it did. Fair enough, it did. I put on some placebo in my ears. I hope it won't be too emotional. I love Brian Molko so much. He's awesome. He's so much emotion when he sings. I'm just giving it a couple of minutes for people to come in. Placebo, I know, he has a voice that is really unique. I know. Really unique, and he's able to put so much emotion in it. Oh, dang, it's good. I have yet to listen to their latest album. I heard one song that Jen sent me, and it's really good, but it's really like kind of cheerful. So I have to be in the right mood, like happy music. I don't know why, but it's not. It's just, it always feels a bit weird. But yeah, oh my gosh. And he speaks French really well too. I kind of saw that he rebranded his look recently and he just looks just as handsome as before. So, fine. No problem with that. I saw them live once when they came to Montreal. Oh man, quite some time ago. It was so good. I tried staying after the show, like to hopefully meet the band, like the two people in the band. But I ended up having such a hard hitting headache that eventually I left. Also, it was, I don't know why, but often shows are like on weekdays, like weeknights. And I was like, I kind of have to work tomorrow, and also I cannot afford to miss the last subway home, you know? So I stayed for as long as I could and didn't get the chance of meeting them. But apparently they came out like later on. I respect your love for Placebo, but I'm unable to not associate them with a girl that I had a crush on in middle school who was telling everyone that the vocalist was Spy over and over. Oh no. And we finally have late trains, but for a long time shows had to hand at 10 to get people back on public. Really? Hold on, wait. Living in London was good for that, but the minute we moved out, it's a nightmare. Meds is such a good album. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, we kind of have late subway, and I think some buses have an overnight service, but shows being on weekday nights. I mean, it's a bit better on the weekends. At least you can, like, if you're stranded, you don't have this concern about getting home ASAP. Like, worst case scenario, I could walk home or get a cab, but it's expensive. But anyway, but the fact that you have to wake up next morning to go to work, that was the big. Would have been easier to find a place to sleep, like next to the venue. Like if money was no concern, because the venue was closer to work than my home, so it's always that kind of weird nonsense. I haven't been to a show in quite a while. I mean, COVID, not counting COVID, because no one really like it was not a super good idea to go to shows during COVID for obvious reasons. But yeah, I think I'm getting a bit too old for them. I would love it. I would love to see Mogwai live again for the billionth time. But it's just the hassle of waiting there, standing up for the whole show if you're not lucky, and then trying to come back home. Like, we live far from the venues in Montreal. I once slept through a KMFD Rammstein concert because it started work at 5 a.m. and they didn't go. Oh no! How did you manage to sleep through that though? That's not the most quiet of shows. Sat on a step and passed right out, and even woke up with all my stuff still. Ooh, wow. Dang. Respectful concert goers. Did you listen to the latest Rammstein album? It's quite good. There are some bands that I refuse to see in shows. It's like Radiohead. I love, well, especially before, but there was a few opportunities to go see Radiohead before they became all weird experimental. And it just... Ugh. I have no idea how I did it. Without my current meds, the tiniest noise, and I'm bolt upright. You must have been so pooped. Hey, Lena, hi! In my city, we have one night line, but where I was living in uni had night buses and fast trams, but trams were not driving on the Monday, Tuesday night. Because track conservation. Really? What is track conservation? Hey Erica, hi. There's a video that made the rounds not long ago on Twitter, I think. And it's related to ADHD, and it was explaining how people who have issues with attention, was it with ADHD? I think so. But it was basically not... Oh, how did the guy put it? It was so nicely put. Of course, I can't remember now. But it was like an issue with intentions. And basically, the researcher explained that often it's about sort of being able to plan long term and having issues with that aspect. Like everything that is a long-term goal or a long-term plan is much more difficult to work with because you sort of cannot see it happening in a way. Anyway, I need to find the video again. I'll put it in on the Discord if I find it. It's been rolling in my head a bit since I saw it. They were fixing and checking tracks on Monday night. Oh, I see. I won't talk business here, but I dream that I ordered a commission from you and we'll have to see. Oh, but of course. Yes, I'm open for commissions. I have some like sort of presets on my Ko-fi. But yeah, I'm open to... I still need to send you the paintings. Damn it. I finished this commission. Remember this attempt that I did that I showed you guys last Saturday? And how it like... It was not the outcome that I wanted. So I redid it and got this. And this is closer to what I wanted. Like the sketchiness worked for my initial sort of cat adventure drawing, but it I don't think it works as a like actual commission really. So Q version 2.0, which I think works a lot better. Yeah, this one is so freaking vibrant. Like I changed everything for this one. I changed paper, I changed paints. I changed the way I did it, like the process. So for this one, I transferred it from a print, because I like to do the sketch digitally so I can fix stuff easily. And then I light table the sketch onto a piece of paper. And this is the Strathmore 500. I know people don't like the Strathmore 500, but I don't really have an issue with the paper itself. Like I've painted a lot of stuff on this paper and it was okay. But I don't know why the combo of the sketchiness and using schminke colors on this, and it just didn't, like, it's so splotchy and weird, and I was like, this is not what I want. So for this one I switched to Arches paper, the old reliable for me. And it's Holbein paints, and it's a much better outcome. And yeah, very vibrant, like that's insane. Yeah, the vibrant one is just works better in my opinion. There's a time and a place for sort of weak watercolor or like light effect, like something not as vibrant. But the person wanted to have the background be a sunset, and I was like, it doesn't really fit with the non-vibrant kind of backdrop. Oh no, Jod! Coincidentally, the night from Monday to Tuesday was when I missed the last train the most, and then I went to the tram stop and was standing there like a tit until I realized it was Monday, no trams. How did you get home then? Why is it hot? Like, there's a curse on Saturdays, guys. It's always super hot on Saturdays. Why? Hey, Dominic, hi. Alright, so I need something. Not hot for me, just rainy. Ugh. Oh, that is good. Salut le baby. Okay, hold on. I need it was cold, so I'm wearing actual pants, and I think that's a bit overkill. So hold on, I need to go change out into something a bit less hot. Okay, so I have shorts and a fan on me now. Should be better. I don't have expectations anymore about September. Like, my birthday's at the end of the month, and I'm always like, yay, finally the weather is gonna be nice for my birthday. But the last couple of years, it's always been like 30 degrees at the end of September, and I'm just like, I'm not hoping for anything anymore. Oh my god, I visited my aunt's while I got my broken AC fixed. She had her AC at 60 Fahrenheit. I mean, I think that's cool. I had to go to the bus stop and watch as a bus leaves because I walked too slow. Oh no! And then I waited an hour for that. Oh no! I liked it in June though. Nightingale was always singing. Oh, okay, that's cute. But yeah, having to wait a whole hour for a stupid bus. In the summer, her bill must be huge. Okay. It's a good tactic in the winter. Like, we keep it around 16 degrees in the winter. Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Jeez. And yeah, it's cool, and it costs a bit less in the heating. Though, to be fair, our heaters in here are half of them are like broken. I was freezing in the summer. It was honestly nice, but oh my god, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a priority for her. Okay, so I don't know how to get into what I titled this stream, really. What is it? It's art existential crisis, I think I titled it. I can't see. I added 101 because I feel like that's sort of the basic of it that everybody goes through. So yeah, I feel like I'm always stuck in one of these, like forever, or since forever, for the last 20 years at least, for sure. Like, I don't know, I can't even fathom how I managed to do before. Like, I remember hitting a sort of invisible wall when I moved here. Like, even the teacher at some point, like, took me aside and was like, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, yeah, I think so." I was like, "I'm asking because your homework, they feel less inspired than before." So I got worried and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I'm so sorry. It was a great teacher. So, but yeah, and I went like, "Oh, geez, I don't know." So yeah, so that was like in, I don't know, 2003 or 4. So just about 18 years ago or something. Like, even if it was something like mental illness related or whatnot, it's so hard to get tested for this stuff and to get an actual like response, like answer to anything. Oops, sorry. That I really can't count on that. But yeah, so art existential crisis. So after that, I finished school in 2006 and tried to find work related to the animation industry. Took a couple of years, but I found a gig and it was hard and finally figured it out. And then I found a couple of other gigs because once you know people and if you are an okay worker, they will call you back. Like, they will say, "Hey, no, I know someone who can do this and that." And yeah, so I did that for about 10 years. And then I kind of, I don't know, it just got to be to a point where it was unbearable to spend so much time working on other people's stuff and to feel more like just a sort of just a technical part of the process and having very little creative input into anything. So basically, not enough problems to solve, I think, was kind of my issue. Like, I got good at what I was doing, and then I would only get called for that, and it was always like super intense, super short deadlines, no social benefits whatsoever. The pay was okay, but nothing really to write home about. And I just got like completely fed up with that. So in between contracts, I decided not to actively seek work and to try out to make videos on YouTube, and that worked for a bit. It was fun. But at some point, I don't know if I ran out of ideas, but the channel is not growing per se. I know you're gonna say, "But Ev, you're not posting anything," and I'm like, yeah, part of the issue is that too, but it's just so difficult to find the time to make content, to post the content, and then the content doesn't really pay for itself, which is fine on its own, but it's more suited to being a hobby than to being a job, So with this consideration, how do you set up work? Like, how can you make art a job? And like, I don't have a particular style. I'm not known for anything. I don't really have a fan base, I would say. So it's just, what am I supposed to do now? And that's kind of where I'm stuck. And then what am I supposed to do? And I've tried a couple of venues, like people saying, oh, well, just do what you like. And I'm like, I don't know what I like. I can't figure it out, and I don't know why I draw, aside from it being sort of the only thing I know how to do. Like, of course, over 25 years, you hone whatever skills you have. Just wanted to say that I'm only quiet because I'm listening, and this is my non-visual. Thank you so much. I never know if it's like buggy or whatnot or frozen. I'm glad to know that it's still rolling. But yeah, so I was trying to figure it out. Like, I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, just to sort of put my thoughts on paper so that I can see them and like work with them, because I don't think I'm good at visualizing. So what I often do is I will take like pieces of paper and just write like, oh, like why, and then I don't have to think about why because I can see it there, you know. I've come in late, but this already sounds like the conversation going on in my own head right now, for what it's worth. Oh, hey, hi Cleo, or Kaleo. How do you prefer your username to be read? So yeah, I feel like this is kind of not a unique or new thing. I feel like a lot of artists have this issue, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it in a stream, because I'm like, most of the people in the chat are also Cleo. Okay, perfect. So yeah, a lot of you guys in the chat are also artists, and either you understand and we can all commiserate together, or maybe like talking about it with you guys might be helpful for at least someone out there, you know. I get you. I tried to make videos and then it turns out I hate editing them. Until I had to for a scholarship program, so I had a deadline. It was fine, I guess, but after that I slowly stopped. Yeah, there's like kind of the same with me. Like, I have no issue whatsoever editing for other people. That's fine. Like, I'll do it. But if I have my own video on the slate, I will procrastinate as much as I can, which is terrible. I found this amazing community because I was stuck in a role that I didn't find creative in any way and was losing my mind. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how to really explain why that happens, because the thing that I was doing was creative adjacent, sort of, but it became so mindless. Like, the part at the beginning when I started doing this specific task, when I had to learn the task, that was like just a bit challenging and you really had to put in some brain power to do it. But once I had figured that out and I understood how to do my task, I was able to go through a whole assignment and give it in and get no retakes on it, like no corrections. It was all good, so it stopped being challenging. And I was like, well, okay, I can do this now, I understand. So it became even more of like difficult mentally. I think my brain is really good at being presented with a problem and trying to find a solution. And when something becomes like, when I figure it out, it's not as interesting anymore. Coffee. Let's get this brain even more riled up. That's a great idea. ADHD and repetitive can be a great thing or a curse. Yeah, like I feel like some task like I haven't tried it, so this is just a hypothesis, but I've always felt like if I had a job where my task is to like fulfill orders to ship out. So it's repetitive in the sense that every day you fill out orders, but every order is different. And I've always felt like this like probably would work for me, at least for a while. But yeah, so I don't know how to progress with art. And I mean, I have like quite a few years of trying to find a solution. So like sometimes you hear stuff like, oh well, you need to level up your skills, and I'm like, okay. And that's always stuff like, well, learn your basics, do model drawing, blah de blah de blah, and practice perspective and all that stuff. And I'm like, to what goal first? Like, yeah, it's useful to know that stuff, but it's sort of learning up things with no objective in mind. And well, I will sometimes feel good about doing like anatomy model studies or whatnot. Perspective is annoying to study. Like, this is not fun, okay? Not fun! And you're like, well, why am I bothering with all this stuff that I don't enjoy if I don't even know what I'm doing this for? Yeah, I need the objective, which is why those things are easier to learn as you go. Say you have an idea for a drawing that requires a specific pose or a specific perspective, then it's much easier to get into it and put in the effort of figuring it out. Hey Melissa, hi! And time is limited too. You do a comic, right? So that's that's some like extra work. I think maybe not having an objective helps me sometimes, like with the parrot art. I'm hyperfixating and I'm having fun with no... Well, yeah, but at the same time, you have a goal. Your goal is to draw the pirates. Like, when I used to really get fixated on specific fandoms, I would really push the boundaries of what I can do, because I would get ideas that would require like backgrounds and poses and angles and, you know, a bunch of stuff. So in order to make the drawing happen, I had to figure all this stuff out. And my goal was to complete this drawing featuring the characters that I like. Whatever I pick up while I'm hyper-focused just kind of translates into my work. Yeah. So that's kind of what's missing, I feel like, with just leveling up skills for leveling up skills with no personal stake in it is what I find hard. Like, if you are fixated on a thing, that's a personal stake. That's something that will fuel you through going through all that nonsense, all that BS, to get to the finished thing and be like, oh yeah, I did this thing, next one, you know. So why is a big question, and then I was like, okay, but what is like the second question that I kind of struggle with, because I can't settle down on a thing. It's really difficult. And also, whatever school training I had, the first 3 years of school training, well, actually the whole 6 years of professional training, I did 3 years of graphic design, you guys know that, and then I did 3 years of cartoon animation. And in both of these disciplines, you have to be able to adapt to styles and be kind of jacks of all trades, or really adaptive. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Gerard. I hope you have a great evening. and a good weekend. So yeah, since they require you to do a bit of everything or to be able to adapt to whatever project you end up on, when you don't have a project or an assignment, I kind of don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. I get really stuck in it. I legit don't know how I learned several instruments. I don't think I'd have the patience for the in-between again, but have happily accepted it with my doodles. You mean musical instruments? Huh. But yeah, that's just the thing. So you would get an assignment that would be like graphic design. You have to sort of give the client what they want, and I mean, it's not the fault of the schools either. Like they try to give you as many tools as possible for the professional world out there, and not everyone ends up as sort of drowning as I did, I guess. The ones I played well were flute, piccolo, and oboe. Oh wow. Huh, I didn't know that. That's really cool. In between is the leveling up skills, but oh my gosh. You kind of need a motivation. And then sort of the third factor that adds extra confusion to everything is the online world. Let's write that down too, because yeah, it's legit a brain dump, because if it's not on paper, I can't see it. So it's awesome for its opportunities, but it also creates a space where comparison is so easy to do. And it's like an extra layer of confusing on a cake. Because the way my brain kind of works is I see someone doing something that either I find pretty or I find interesting or successful or all three. And then it feels like I've found the solution, but I haven't. This is not a through perception of it. But my brain will try super hard to convince me that it's the solution, and it's not. And eventually I realize it's not, and I lose complete focus. But always after having spent a lot of energy and sometimes money on trying to get to this solution. Yeah, it's a fucking mess. I played instruments in school too. I started in 4th grade with trombone, but I moved on to alto sax, with bari sax being the same instrument but an octave lower. I didn't want to stand out and somehow played 2 instruments. You can't not. I wanted to do bassoon, but those things are crazy rare and expensive, so welp. Piano and organ, like 3 pianos on top of each other for me. Oh wow. The reeds for double reeds is ridiculous. So even after you've managed to afford one, you're replacing a 20-60 pound reed every couple. Ugh. All other instruments seemed like wizardry. Wow, you guys are a musical bunch. Hey, Paulo! I'm right on time as reed instruments are being talked about. The only instrument I can play well is the shitty flute. Really good at that. I thought you would be talking about AI and art. Oh, well, I can surely talk about that. That was part of the... I sure had it in mind too when I was writing the title. I was like, oh yeah, this applies to AI and art too. I kind of don't really have an opinion about AI art, really. I feel like it's kind of hard to say for now. And I don't know, as someone who struggles to build mental images visually, I can see how using a AI image thingy to sort of get started on a thing, like at least give you sort of a visual starting point of anything to an idea so that you can bring it to words, onto like from words to an image. But yeah, is there anything we can help with, like have weekly assignments or goals? I will write that. Thank you so much for offering Bucks to Paint. That's really, really cool. I need to, I don't know. I know that Art Chiu, Autumn Chiu, she does a, is it weekly? Like a sketchbook session, I think it's called, weekly, and it has a theme, like one, let's say, could be fall. And there's a, like, she puts together a Pinterest board of references, and then with in a live stream, and people can do it at the same time, she will just fill out pages inspired by the reference and all that. So we're also having an existential crisis in science due to AI. Really? To explain quickly, now we can get results without knowing why. That's odd. I wish I was more help with art crisis. I struggle so hard. When I hit the block, I hit the heart, and I have to claw my way out of it with assigning myself studies, like doing sheets of hands. I mean, just knowing that you guys can relate is already kind of helpful, I feel. It's like, instead of being just me pushing on the cart, I realized that there's a bunch of us pushing on the cart to get it uphill. So it helps, you know. And like, if for you it's assigning yourself studies, maybe I can figure out what I could, like, what path I can take to bring myself out of it. I think AI is overhyped. I totally agree. We're having productivity faster and faster. We're literally stressing ourselves out. Yeah. It's just like, do the hands, that's all. Just do hands. It's the goal. Do the hands. So I do the hands and it's a small victory. So you go from like small victory to small victory, and eventually it builds up enough that you recover. Are you talking about being an artist in general, or relating to training or YouTube? Sorry, came in late. I just mean in general. Like, kind of feeling lost for not having specific goals, or like not feeling satisfied with what you create in a way, but not knowing how to fix it either. When I was at uni, after struggling with 3D animation, oh my gosh, 3D animation, Hubs had to be very cautious of putting on any good animated movie because I'd burst into tears about, oh no, Bugs of Pain, that's terrible. Oh no. Geez, that's not, like, there's a problem with education if it brings people to feel that way. Like, that's not arg. Small victory after small victory, and then I'm feeling okay again until the next time. Then I do the hands. You kind of have this this recipe, this formula. I hope you won't mind that I use the 2 panels from the Thief of Tales as example for inspiration for a work presentation. Oh no, no problem. It was inspiring to happen. Then my year in industry, my coworker's mom was an animator for Happy Feet, and when it ended, oh yeah, oof. 3D animation classes made me such an angry person. Oh my gosh, there's a pattern. Hey Lindsay, hi. Like, I don't know, 3D animation, like, it was, we had a couple of classes of it back when I studied 2D animation, because you kind of had to know about that stuff a bit too. And what I remember of it is not it being particularly hard. It was not hard per se, not at that level anyway, but it was so boring. I hated it. Like, at least when you're drawing, even like either on paper or digitally, you have all the space possible for like mistakes and just going like, oh, what if I do you know, instead of drawing just a regular cat, I make it extra long, and you can just, oh my god, that took like what, 20 seconds to do at most. And if you want to do that in 3D, like, it's, I don't feel like you can explore as much, and you kind of, I just, it's too like tight and clean and with a little bow on top, and I just not enough chaos for my brain, not enough possibility for chaos, like quickly, like mess something up quickly. And yes, I feel the same about art and life in general too. Feeling I'm not doing enough, not doing it right or enough. Oh, I'm sorry, Melissa, I know what you mean. it's really difficult. Like, hey, I'm a full-blown midlife crisis level adult and I still don't own a house. We don't drive. Yeah, so like I'm shite at managing my own money and adulting, am I right? Thanks, Ev. I realized I was about to tell you about it and that I hadn't asked before. Well, I mean, thank you for asking. That's always like appreciated. But at the same time, the comic is available online, so someone out there could sample a page and use it in a presentation and never even told us, or not link it. And there's not really much I could do. So if you tell me that you linked it, that's already like amazing, and thank you so much. For reals, haha, this is going back a long time, but I had 3 farmed PC rendering my 3-minute story for 7 entire days to find out that I forgot to turn the lighting back on and the scene. Oh no, box of paint, no! Oh my gosh! It shows we're all of a similar age, box of paint and Genly, because my experience dealing with animation in 3D and also graphic design was the same. Like computers that were super outdated and struggling. Early graphic design will still use the floppy disks, you know, the smaller one, and then it was zip drives. And like, ooh, they cost an arm and a leg, and the biggest one was what, 250 megs? Megs? Then you have like USB cards, USB sticks, memory sticks that cost a fraction of that and have like 10 times the freaking space on it. I threaten to burn down the 3D labs very often, but I love Flash. It was built like my brain, and I had to animate in Flash. The first job I had was that, and we had no idea how to animate in Flash. So there was a really difficult 3-4 months of trying to like hone the skills for animating in it, and it was really the stressful part and really difficult. But once that was like run through, it became so easy and so fun, and it was so much problem solving, and it was so like dysfunctional as a software that I loved it. Like, you learn that certain things you can do, like if you had a group of lines and or shapes and groups, you can sort of double click on them and go in the group, but if you try to edit the group, it crashes all the time. Like, systematically our Flash would crash if you tried to edit the vectors in a group. So it was all about like breaking the group and making it a symbol and then editing the symbol and all that stuff. And it was fun. It was easy to understand, and like if something looked like butt, you basically just tried to figure out how to patch it, you know? The only thing that mattered was that the scene must work at the end. So that was a really fun experience. To be clear, is this an existential crisis, or is it this being in a mood and lacking motivation? Well, if it's a mood and lacking motivation, it's been going on for like almost 20 years. So I think it's just a constant struggle. I snuck into a college class when I was 16 to learn to use Quark Express to edit photos. Quark? Really? Oh my gosh, you were next level. I had to learn Quark Express for layouts and graphic design and like making pamphlets and whatever nonsense. But to edit photos? Photoshop was more for editing than Quark. Oh my gosh, Quark. Ah! I remember my first experience with animation was terrible. My teacher had us do one, and we had a sheet, and I had to do so much cleaning. Oh no. Our first experience with the animation was they gave us a stapled stack of paper and we did a flip book. I found my zip drive not long before moving up to Canadaland and I cried. It brought back so much. Oh no! We still have one here. Because yeah, I mean, like, Guillaume was a MVP in graphic design because Guillaume did graphic design along with me. And he was MVP because he had a portable reader that you could plug in computers. And we still have it, and I still have a, I don't know if I kept it, but I had a stack of zip drives until recently. And they would cost so much, and they would fail often, and oh my, what a nightmare. I'm glad that that sort of, like, ended. We moved past the freaking zip drive. There's a zip drive under a blanket of dust on the shelf in this room. I have a visceral reaction whenever someone mentions Maya. Oh no! I've forgotten everything about Maya. I think that's what we did the animation in school, and I just forgot. Like put it in the toilet and flush and gone. I have no, you are not alone in existential crisis, midlife crisis, whatever you wants to call it. Feeling lost, goalless, etc. The experiences crosses all types of occupations and creative outlets. Well, thank you. Like, we're all together in this struggle, which is comforting. I really mean that. I mean, it's bad enough to feel this way, but if on top of that you feel alone in feeling this way, that's like the worst. It wasn't my proudest moment, but in the late 90s my dad gave me this device that let you read emails, and then you plugged it into your phone cable, and loud noise and magic. Whoa. Wait, like loud noise, like a modem, cable modem back then? But I had a bad date and got to tell him off an email on the bus ride home, and it felt like a maybe it's time to switch into drawing desserts. Can I eat them instead? Like, this is an emotional eating kind of moment. The modem connecting still haunts some dreams. Or like, not knowing that someone connected the modem, and you pick up the phone to call your friend, and it's like this modem sound. Like, no wonder technology evolved. That was so shite. I don't think I would have such mixed feelings about this period if it wasn't also attached to weird stuff that happened in real life at the same time, you know. My parents had a fax, and that was always nightmare-inducing if you called and it was connected. Send a hubby for treats. Oh man. Guillaume is not a very spontaneous person, in a sense that I would never expect him to go out and like get me treats or something. Like, since that's not how his brain works, so it doesn't really occur to him to do that. Pies, donuts, pudding. Oh my gosh. There's a place nearby that has twisty donuts that are amazing. So good. But yeah, at the time where internet became a thing, Like, we all discovered all kinds of stuff. I remember being really into the the palace chat thingy. I don't know if you guys remember that or know about that, but like, what really called to me about it is that you could set up your avatar as an image, and you could also have custom images in that you could edit yourself. So I would try to find comic book images like Witchblade, and try to find like the right kind of Witchblade to make into my avatar, and then edit out all the background pixel by pixel. Yeah, that was chaos. But yeah, it's also the time where my mom discovered the internet, and she found her a group of 40-year-olds midlife crisis forum people, and that's where she met her new her new husband there, and the whole shit show. So that was kind of a mixed feeling period of time, because I remember we had one family computer, and also, like, schools, they would ask you to do your homework on the computer if possible, which they assumed it was possible. If it was not possible, you had to go to the computer labs in school and try to get something done. And I remember, like, going downstairs where the computer was and being like, "Hey mom, can I have the computer? I have to type in this homework." and immediately when I would step one foot down the stairs, like, the way the stairs were set up, like, stairs, this is like the top of the stairs, there was a door that would go in the backyard, and this go down, and this side is a wall. This other side had part of a railing and part of a wall, so if you looked at it from the basement, it would be a bit like this, but there was a section here that was wall, that had steps, and then eventually you would pop out of the wall like, "Hey." So I would, like, start walking down, and I would hear, "Don't look at the screen!" And I was like, "I can't even see anything yet. What's on your freaking screen?" And I was like, "Mom, I have homework to type in." And I was like, "Oh, shoot, but I'm on the computer now." And I was like, "Yeah, but can I have it in like 30 minutes or something?" And yeah, okay. I'd go back up, do whatever other homework for 30 minutes, and come back down and be like, "Mom, it's been 30 minutes. I'm not done. Let's look at my screen." And I was like, "Okay, what the So yeah, that was shite. Okay, thanks for allowing me to ramble about this. I've always felt like that was particularly bad shit. I went through school without a personal computer and having to work at schools and libraries all the time. Warning, anecdote incoming. The modem sound joins other old tech sounds. I went to a museum exhibit this summer where you could try to dial a rotary phone. Oh, dang. And you got a stamp on a card if you did. What? No way. Oh my gosh. I don't know if she was looking at naughty pictures, really, because she was, like, chatting it I don't know, maybe you guys are, some of you are too young to fully grasp the forum effect of the end of the 90s or early 2000s, really, mostly the end of the 90s. But people would write a forum post, click send, and, like, it was like chatting, but like a whole group of people on forums. And there was forums for everything, like now. And she had found a forum of, local, like, French Canadian people in their 40s. And I guess she felt at home there, and I'm pretty sure they were, like, they're boomers, so they were probably sending, what Facebook is like now, but kind of like that, but back then, So there probably was a naughty picture here or there of someone being like, "Haha, this is a naked dude or a naked lady, haha." And you're like, this is not funny, really. But I think it's mostly because she was flirting or, talking with her future husband there. which was not my dad, you know. So I think that was me. Like, and okay, let's say this is the full basement. So the stairs, they're like this. There's a small landing, and there's a couple of stairs, and like there were other rooms and whatever. But the computer was in a nook because there used to be a bar like here. So there was a nook. Here there was a space, here there was another small, and there was a door. So the computer was set in the nook that used to be a bar. So, like, you couldn't see anything from the stairs. And even if you could, it would be text on a computer screen, like far away. So it was just like, yeah, it was a shit show. Like, when my parents announced that they split, I think part of me went like, oh, finally. Mom was like, oh, I'm gonna buy a new home and leave. And I was like, okay, whatever you need, just... Oh, we need a break here. We need to chill for a sec. Yeah, sorry. Story time Saturday, but shitty stories on me. I'm still not over using the rotary phone properly. Like, it's not exactly rocket science, but yeah. Hey, thank you, Melissa. Sorry you guys went through me retelling that too. Parents, am I right? You can't live with them, but you can't live without them. The guard at the museum was so proud of me and my friends for being able to dial the phone. I didn't have the whole television drama version of my parents getting a divorce. It was also more a sigh of relief and ready to move on. Yeah. I mean, fine, it sucks, but you know what sucks even more is being a kid stuck with parents that are in a relationship where they don't stand each other anymore. Like, you cannot underestimate the kids in that. They can feel it when it's shitty. Anyway, let's talk about fun stuff, right? Scout has flipped to the other side. This cat is on a cushion that's on a blanket that's on a chair. Like, she has like real Princess and the Pea energy. He was a super young museum guard. He said it took him a long time to get the phone to die right. Oh no! Am I old? I grew up with rotary phone. Yeah, same. Computer programming in high school on Apple 1, maybe 2 in BASIC. The final program I wrote was too large for the computer to actually run. Oh no! They also had microfiche and museum card. Oh! I'm staring for the... Yeah, we did I never remember what it's called, but in school we like, they had the first sort of computers that you could have in schools per se, and it was, you know, the turtle thing where you would enter commands and the frog would like trace a line according to the commands you put in. Logo, yeah, I think that's it. basic. I tried to make a D&D game on our AV room. Oh wow, that's so cool. Yeah, the frog would enter like commands like turn 45 degrees, then make a line that long, and then turn. And the goal was ultimately to like try and draw things with it. Ah, to be a cat, right? The hard life of a house cat. I want a card catalog for storing stuff, but people want $1,000. Are those the furniture with a lot of like small drawers where you would put the cards for the books in libraries? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a trendy vintage item. So yeah, people want a lot of money for it. Like in libraries. I'm staring pretty far in the back of the head. Yeah, I think there's quite a few of us that are like between late 30s and early 40s ish. So we've sort of all been through kind of the same period of time. And I guess that it's kind of all of us that struggle with the same kind of issues too. Oh, 53, wow. How do you like it? I feel like the older we get, the more freeing it is in a way. Yeah, I don't feel it either. The only way I kind of feel my age is when I look at like my parents. Well, my dad now. Because I'm like, you remember your dad. I don't see him often, and I remember him from when I was a kid too. And when I see him now, I'm like, oh, that's true. Time has passed. I keep forgetting I'm a complete older adult. Oh my god. Yeah, same. It's just so weird. Do you guys get this thing where someone asks you your age and you have a moment where you pause and you're like, hold on. I have to do the maths because I don't feel that age for sure. Yes, it's so weird. I'm always like, hold on, when was I born? What year? Okay, so... Oh, okay, so yeah, that number. I don't care what other people think about me anymore. I am who. Yeah, I think that's something that is particularly freeing about getting older. It's sort of you get older, but instead of feeling necessarily bummed about it, you're like, oh, but I have so less fucks to give about anything. I pretty much exclude most of the early 20s from 2000s from memory. I hope, well, I mean, I hope it's not from trauma, but I kind of do that too, in a way, because I don't feel like when I see the actual year we're at, I'm like, really? It's as if like the real time where you would notice the years was before 2000, but when we sort of reached 2001 and the whole bug of Y2K and all that nonsense sort of faded away, I don't I don't really like register every single year after that. Less fucks to give, but more bills to pay. Ugh. I'm from the 1900s, like the horseless carriage in silent movie. When I was born, internet didn't even exist. You tell kids that you couldn't go out with your phone back then, and oh my gosh, it's so weird. Like in 100 years, so much has happened. It's so difficult. 100 years is not that many generation of people, so you really kind of have a weird clash of skills and like personal experiences and. The 1900s. When I was born, the TV was not invented yet. Is it just me who really enjoys drawing with a super blunt pencil? Like when the point is too pointy, it doesn't feel as great. When I was your age, we were never there and we were grateful. We respected our elders back then. Stuff that was new when I was growing up is now vintage, and many things my kids have never heard of. I've never heard of. Yeah. When I see like on Etsy or like sites like Poshmark, where they have like vintage market, whatever, and it's stuff from the 90s, it does a trip on your brain, you know. It like, hold on. And I remember when I was in high school, so the sort of end of the 90s, there was a trend at some point about, well, the 60s and 70s stuff was the trend. Like the what's it called? It has a name. You know, the pants leg that go really, really like bell out like that. No, that's you would have a tiny shoe under there actually. And bell bottoms, thank you so much. And when you think about it, that was in the 90s, so that was what, 20-30 years in the past. So our parents must have felt the same way, you know. Like bell bottoms, and I don't know if you guys had that, but if you would get people who would buy like regular jeans and they would do surgery on them to create a bell bottom by splitting the seam and then sewing in a triangle of fabric to make that shape. That was super the trend. And then grunge also came kind of at the same time, so it was really hodgepodgey. I was working a drawing earlier and had that momentary letdown after sharpening my pencil. It was nice to get some smaller details but lost all the smoothness. I don't know why. Like, I think I'm gonna start sharpening all my pencils with a blade so that they're never pointy. And when they're dull enough, you can use like the edges for details, because it's basically your pencil is like this, you know. So this provides a nice smooth thingy, but you can also use this sort of angle to do the details, and then you can go with the bluntness. My perspective teacher called these knees, like, you know, like knees. And he was always grumble about our pencils being like knees and not precise. Un genou. I've never quit wearing them. Really? You still wear bell bottoms? I mean, I would if it wasn't a risk that I'm always gonna trip in them and break my face on the asphalt. I'm wearing leggings for pants and sweatpants and not. I love flowy stuff, but I'm too short. So everything flowy is necessarily too long, and if it's too long, I trip in it when I walk. And that's not fun. So give me leggings, I don't give a damn. People are like, oh no, leggings are not pants. And I'm like, too bad for you. They're pants in my book and they're super comfy. So bugger off. But also heavy embraced Jinko. What's that? Bell bottoms are back. Ugh. Yeah, the 90s fashion is sort of also kind of current, and it's just so weird to walk into like the subway and a lot of the young kids are dressed in 90s fashion, and it feels like I've stepped into a time warp, whatever. And it, like, some trends of the 90s were not particularly my kind of trend, so I see it again and I get immediately thrown back to that time, and my brain goes like, oh, again, ugh! Like, I still don't like it, ugh! I don't have to wear it, so fine, who cares? But, you know, stuff like carpenter pants. At first I was like, what are carpenter pants? They're basically cargo pants, guys. Cargo pants, no. Or you know, the convertible cargo pants, you could unzip and they became cargo shorts. My brain is broken. Technically, I know. I now wear boot cuts. Yeah, boot cuts are a bit less dramatic than bell bottoms, right? But I have a thing where I like my shoes to mostly covered. Shinko had things like 40-inch legs, so they were super baggy and you could not walk on them. Were they like rave pants? Rave pants were mind-blowing. If I dare wear bell bottoms, I'm going to want to go full 1960s hippie style. The 80s fashions never seem to come back. Well, they did, I think. They had their moment, I think. I don't really... Oh, peplum tops absolutely made a comeback. And a lot of people would wear like really boxy things with shoulder pads. Like t-shirts with shoulder pads are... No. Cargo pants pockets. You can carry all your art supplies on your thighs, and you would always need a belt because your pants would like drop. I feel like I've reverted to late 90s me. Clunky boots and black shirts. Well, black shirts are the best shirts. First of all, they hide paint stains, they hide food stains, they hide sweat stains. They don't hide cat fur well though, but you know, nothing can be that perfect. Total rave pants. Oh man, do you remember the rave pants that were like made out of synthetic fur? That was trippy. I was a gothic club kid. I hated shoulder pads. Oh my gosh. I understand the concept of shoulder pads, but I think Princess Di was pretty much the only person that pulled them off. I agree. I'm just missing all the pro wrestler logos on my shirts. I never really managed to be any kind of style as a teen because, like, I wanted specific things and I would not get them. I was absolutely into grunge. I wanted like a stupid flannel shirt so bad. And and I still remember to this day how like ecstatic I was when I finally convinced my parents to buy me a stupid flannel shirt. And it was not like the ideal flannel shirt, but I was at the point where I was like, anything will do. Please, please, I'm trying so hard. So I would have to buy some of my clothes I would buy at flea markets. So I had a hodgepodge of weird stuff. I had like 60s shirt with, you know, the super pointy collar and the polyester, which were gnarly, and t-shirts, and it was difficult because I know what I knew what I wanted, but my parents would not let me have it. So I did try to do my own bell-bottom pants, but I used a fabric that was too thin in there, and it didn't quite work. So I was basically a wannabe. That was my style as a teen. You wear something with shoulder pads, and they come out as shoulder pads. My high school style was gothic punk. Wow. But only as far as our parents would let us go. So not really rebelling very much. I was the only kid at school they called a frep. Freak prep. That's been edited a bit, but I've gotten older. And still pretty much my go-to. Big baggy jeans, my boots, and a v-neck sweater. Oh, that's a good look. I had to buy my own clothes with babysitting money because my mom absolutely refused to buy me shirts with sweaty half-naked wrestlemen on them. Like Death from the Sandman comic, The High Cost of Living, pretty much that 24/7. Oh, I need to look into that. I have a Death was basically like black jeans, tank top, and boots, and like jewelry and bracelets, if I remember right. She was my idol, but I couldn't pull off anything but the two pale skin. Aw. And messy hair and makeup. Yep. Big Doc Martens. Oh yeah! Oh, I wanted Doc Martens so much. I wanted Chucks and Doc Martens. The only pair of shoes that I really like managed to get were Converse, not Chucks, but were they Converse? Anyway, there was a trend sometime in the 90s where the sneakers were like in suede and whatever, and I managed to convince my parents like I needed shoes, and I managed to get them to buy me those. It was so annoying. Like, did you guys have that thing where your Christmas gift would be clothes that you didn't pick yourself? That sucked. Oh, yay, thank you. Like, I'm grateful for the clothes so I don't go naked, but that's the extent of it, you know. But Death was too pretty. I have a beloved pair of big burgundy leather Martens that I haven't been able to wear in a year because broken toe and surgery. Oh no, are they like vintage Martens? Not pretty new, but discontinued now, I think. Oh. The only thing I've heard regarding more recently made Martens is that they are more difficult to break. Not like ruin them, but to break in like you would any kind of stiff shoe. And that they're notorious for giving you blisters for a good period of time in the beginning. Yes, it's a chore. Oh, why? I've totally given up on fancy shoes. I'm like, oh, all I do is I buy New Balance shoes and that's it. And F everything. Like, I know New Balance shoes will not need to be broken in as much, really. And they're comfy, and they have all sorts of width and sizes, and the only thing I do is I cross my fingers that there's a colorway that's not, like, white. That's all. I don't bother anymore. Like, I will see super nice shoes, but I'm like, nah. Nah. I spent enough monies in shoes that didn't fit in my life. I'm not doing this anymore. My current pair are now about 8 years old, but I have to wear ill patches still. Oh, really? Wasn't allowed to pick my own clothes. I got dubbed Mrs. Polyester. Oh no! Begged and begged for a pair of jeans. Got a pair with giant bum patch of an apple with a bite out of it and a smiling worm. Well, yeah. You only need like longer t-shirts to cover it at that point. Well, I can relate. I was kind of a similar like situation where you would ask for specific items and you would get sort of the wish version of them, and you just had to make do, you know. My original few pair were a few weeks and then your foot melted into them. I love shoes, but they don't love me. I have mini hobbit feet with no heel. Oh no! I have stupid feet. So I have feet like... Okay, that's the heel, that's the feet. And then you have the big toe. And then these are my small toes. Like, the big toe is like twice the size of the other toe. So basically, like, oh, this is technically one size of shoe, but I have to get the full size bigger. But then it's weird because, you know, you have all this sort of empty space here in the shoe. So I don't have a good balance, really, because you kind of need to rely on your small toe for balance. And my small toe is useless. Its only purpose in life is to smash into corners and things and hurt. That's it. I wore them. Yeah, exactly. I kind of did the same, you know, with my... I really wanted an X-Files shirt when I was a teen. And I asked, and we would go to the comic book shop because I love that place. And they had a couple of, you know, large X-Files shirt. And I could never get my parents to spend, I don't know, $40 to get one. I don't remember how much it was. So what they did is they got a white t-shirt, which already is a bit of a not ideal situation. And we had a color printer back then. So we printed a teeny tiny X-Files logo and we ironed it on my shirt, and that was my X-Files shirt. I'm telling you, wannabe. That was my style. Or it could be, oh well. Could work too. Little toes are for kittens to let their slaves know. Oh, don't. No. No. Always trying to find like clothing in the sales rack. Because it was easier to sell it to parents, like, oh, can I get this pair of jeans? They're on sale, you know. But like there was a lot of having to make do with stuff. Like, it's not exactly as as cool looking as the one that's not on sale, but it'll do, you know. And I mean, my parents had like a normal amount of money. We were not poor per se. So I don't know what was up with that. Bear's newest trick is he cuddles up with Hubs at around 5 a.m. and then pulls his beard. Little shit. My cat does pat me on the legs whenever he wants treats. Aww. The girls here, they just yell. Well, Scout will yell. Like if she wants to eat, she will scream at us. And Pecco, well, Pecco is a little monster at night mostly. She will do stuff like throw the bin to the side, which makes a big clacking noise. She will like do her claws on the door, which is basically the same sound as nails on chalkboard. Yeah, she's a little shit at night, Pico. The rest of the time, she's rather cute. She's like a gremlin that you put water on. Or a mugwai that you put water on and becomes a gremlin. I'm about to try an automatic cat feeder for the morning food because I can't take any more 5:30 a.m. wake up calls. Oof. How many cats do you have, Cleo? I don't want to jinx it, but ours are pretty good until just as the sun rises, which makes sense. You know, like that's how pets manage, you know. I just have one little guy right now. But he's being enough of a butt. Then they dance on your tummy, scream in your face, and now pull spears. Sun's up, parents! Get up! Time for food! Followed me into a building where I was helping out to do some office work. He's a big butt, but I love him. Aww. Yeah, that's a kind of a good way to sum up a cat in a nutshell. The cat is a big butt, but I love them. It's awesome when you get one that chooses you first. I know! Oh man, I kind of missed on that with my current cats. Like, we picked them. And I love them to bits, but I really wonder if they would have chosen us if they had the say in it, you know. I went for a walk in the woods and I had a cat follow me back to my grandparents. Jumped in the car when my mom opened the door and he was hers. Aww. They know somehow. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but they really see some vibes that we can't see. You know what they say about cats is that they domesticated themselves so that they could benefit from humans being everywhere, you know. And it kind of matches the general cat behavior that we can see. How they know and they will go to specific humans. And you don't know why, it doesn't really make any sense, but like there's a cat nearby, another tortie, and she absolutely chose her human, and it's an older dude, and he never had, you know, a cat before, and he was not particularly looking for one. But she absolutely adores him, and she doesn't want anything to do with anyone else. Like, I'm the crazy cat lady, and I was able to pet her once, even if I always have treats around. Like, she's super skittish, but for her chosen human. And that's just the way it is. I think that's hilarious. Like, the dude sometimes is a bit clueless, because he's like, well, what was the thing? He was complaining that she was peeing indoors in the winter. I remember being like, well, it's minus 30 Celsius outside. I wouldn't want to go pee outside either. And he was like, That kind of gave him pause, and I think he put in a litter box inside for her. Like, someone who really has no idea how to manage a cat, so that was funny. He was a huge cat, but he never had a problem. He found a home and acted accordingly. Yeah, they know. It's just insane. I love our pets no matter what. I accept and love them as they are, even the jerks. Some humans, however, I don't have the same acceptance. Yeah, I agree. Oh my gosh. Especially when the two overlap, you know. When some human jerks don't really deserve the trust that their pet put in them. Special hell. My very first cat, I was filing out paperwork to adopt one cat, but she disappeared somewhere in the house, and a different cat came over and stuck himself to me. That was that. There you go. And if you're the kind of person who follows a lot of cat shelters account, you always have a couple of stories where a feral cat was not particularly interested in humans, but they kind of recognized when they were in dire straits that the human could help them, and I'm always fascinated by that. Like, let's say a cat has a particularly bad infection. Well, that's the one time they will let a human, get close instead of, like, batting at them. And yeah, some people could say there's a scientific reason for that, or the cat was too weak because of the illness, but at the same time, it's really hard not to also have a bit of it being because the cat kind of realizes that it's not going away, and that perhaps, like, the person that feeds the cat can also help with that, Cats are the best. I love cats. Oh, my niece was approved and Binks. Oh, yay! Oh. Oh, that's so cool. I hope Binks will take to the two roommates. That's the only sort of unknown in this situation. All of us independent, aloof types have to reach out for help sometimes. Exactly. He's been stressed with the other cats and never liked the dog, so he's gonna be an only cat, and I think he will come out of his shell. I think he's gonna be spoiled rotten. Like incredibly so. So let's try to jot down a couple of things. Has anyone here mentioned the video game Stray? Speaking of cats being cats, no one spoils Stray, please. I've started playing it, and I really love it. I haven't had the chance to play it some more, which is a shame, but oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's a lot of fun. But at the same time, if you're really sensitive, it's to cat stuff, it's a bit hard because like just in the intro of the game, I cried because I'm just like too sensitive. Like it's stupid sensitive to cat stuff, but it's so good. Meows, naps, and rubbing ankles. Yes, and the cat is adorable. Ah, the intro is hard for emotion. Yeah, like I'm not a good gamer. I'm terrible at gaming. It's not something that I've put a lot of time into, so my skill set is accordingly very lackluster. But I don't think the game is intended to be a intense challenge. I think it's more about the experience and the unique gameplay. And also like the cat in the game is pretty cool. At some point pretty early on there's ledges and you can just toss things like to the floor just because it doesn't serve a purpose in the game per se, but you can just bin stuff. It's very cat-like. It's such a pretty game. It's the first game that I sat on my screen watching the countdown to click download. People would rush through it as if it's any other video game or missing all that fun cat stuff. Yeah! What is it? People were really angry that the game was not very long and still cost, what, $30? It's like, dude, you're missing the point completely. My art block the last couple of weeks have been about 70% down to a game. I may have accidentally racked up over 90 hours already in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Oh! Well, okay, with games, the way I kind of see it is like fueling up a potential inspiration bank. Like, it's not productive art-wise to play a game, but it gives you, especially a game with a sort of a fantasy setting or, you know, something a bit engaging, is that it gives you stuff that you can add later in your work. If anyone is curious but doesn't want to play it, the stream from Ellen on the Outside Extra channel, it's a good one for cat lovers. Oh, cool. My brain says game cost X. Time played. Yeah, I'm not much of a gamer either. I play Guild Wars 2 mostly because Guillaume also plays Guild Wars 2, and it's like our like gaming night. We both log in Guild Wars and I mean, I'm terrible at it, but it's okay, I have fun. But I have one character. I knew from the beginning what I wanted to do. I was really like set up. It was just funny because Guillaume is really not like that. He has like, I don't know, 10-ish characters, and many of them are like maxed out, and he will enjoy playing variety. Me, I'm just like, nah, give me my one character. That's the only one I play. That's it. So I have one sort of set of skills to figure out and learn, and that's it. And I'm happy with that. I don't have any regrets. I enjoy it and no complaints. And then the other game that I want to play is Stray. I've started, but have yet to put more time in it. And I would have paid 50 pennies an hour Not that I'm giving anyone ideas. Started Tower Fantasy. That one has a very Genshin Impact kind of mood to it. Okay, so back to kind of the art crisis thing for a sec. Briefly, because it's almost 4. But, how do you guys figure out what you want to draw? How do you not sort of get into this weird circular mindset of like, well, I can do like anything, but rather stick to what you want to do, like kind of keep a clear sight of what you want to do rather than being all over the place with what you can possibly do. Does that make sense? Now that I'm not doing my webcomic, which I do want to go back in, I'm at sea. To go back to, sorry, I'm at sea. Are you limiting only traditional that includes digital? Well, the medium itself is not exactly important. When I don't have an idea, prompts are my usual go-to. I mean, I kind of know about prompts, but I forgot that they existed. And it's a good idea. I have a card game that's A, noun, B, adjective, C, verbs, and it gives me something to focus on. Oh, that's interesting. And not every time, but by just the act of picking up my pencil and moving it, other ideas start to come. I have a lot of sketch files, just doodles I've done off to the side while working. If I'm looking for something to do for myself, I'll pull from my pool of doodles. Pull from the pool of doodles. That's awesome. But I have cycles where I have so many ideas that I can't get them out fast enough, and the swing to a total blank screen with the blinking cursor. Oh no. Yeah, I hardly, not anymore anyway, I don't get overwhelmed by ideas because I just don't get any. Whenever one strikes that I feel is worth pursuing, I just do it. Or if I have more than one idea, usually I sketch them out in my sketchbook so I can always leaf back and find those sketches. Like they don't really stay ideas in my head because that's not exactly how my brain works. I'll also go through my reference folders. Oh, that's a good idea. I've been painting 3D printed miniature to exercise, where someone else has done the heavy lifting of creating the figure and I'm just enhancing it. But I don't know if it's helping. Well, that's not, Revisit old art. Is that problematic art? Sorry, is that difficult at time? Because do you ever get stuck in this weird realization that you like your older art better? I find old pieces and withdraw them. It can really bite you back in the butt, though. I did that once. I was looking at some of my first watercolor pieces from decades ago, and there's a couple of them that I was like, I should really go back to painting more like that. And I was like, oh no, counterproductive. Sometimes I'll be mad that I drew better hands 10 years ago. Oh no. Yeah, that's great. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna like stick that in front of me, so whenever my brain pulls a blank page on like how to fix it, just having this stuff that I can refer to. Like when I did all the pieces with the adventure cat, or that kind of stuff, I would often just start by scribbling a cat in my sketchbook and then build up something from there, but I haven't been able to really pull that off in a while. And I think a lot of time it was just being less afraid of the work of the wonk. The wonk is sometimes what makes my stuff look spontaneous and fun. I lose that when I focus too much on the technical correctness now. Yeah, that's the other thing, this spontaneity of scribble. Like sometimes you scribble something quickly and you're like, oh, that's good, and then you want to like use that as a base for something else, and in the process of making it a finished drawing, whatever, it loses that appeal of the scribble. Sometimes I draw a few panels of my character talking things out with me about not drawing. That's a good idea. Like it's talk it through as a crew. I might need a desk sign that says don't be afraid of the wonk. Yeah! I think warming up with drawing whatever for a set amount of time is important before you start actual work. Yeah, I think it kind of depends. Because sometimes the warm-up becomes part of the process of figuring out the image that's in your head, so you can sort of combine these elements. I didn't realize, but I use pareidolia sorry, a lot with the handmade paper, little bumps of script. Oh yeah, it's like when they tell you like you take your non-dominant hand and you close your eyes and you just like scribble stuff, and then you try to see something in the scribbles. Also having hobbies that aren't drawing. Oh man, that's a tough one. I know I would get Jen with that one. I feel stuck regarding other hobbies and just putting on paper everything, which helps, but in both cases it also implies having more stuff and buying more stuff and then having like a bunch of books with writing on them that what do you do with them? Like if you take the time to really make it a journaling thing, you don't really want to bin them, but they're kind of useless, so what do you do with them? Like it just everything escalates so quickly in my head that it's paralyzing at times. So yeah, the thing with hobbies, like let's say I want to do more crochet work. Well, it means I need yarn. Yarn takes up space, and you have to buy the yarn, and you have to do the projects and put the time in them, and it just it spins out of control super quickly. So it's been another kind of struggle to find a good like side hobby that doesn't give me terrible anxiety. And then switching to digital, and there is nothing. How about for digital, maybe you could scan or take pictures of your handmade paper and use that as your canvas. I see a lot of people do that with Procreate and their iPad. They will draw on top of a texture that they photographed or scanned, and it might help. Also, it's a really cool look, so. Yeah, I saw Meow Meow Kapow doing that often. I wonder what she's up to. I haven't heard from Kat in forever. Painting on wood is really good for the whole lit image reveal stuff. Yeah, I kind of I kind of do that when I go to the bathroom because our walls are like really ugly tile that has kind of an abstract pinkish like vomit pink pattern on it, and I usually just zone out looking at it, and sometimes like the splotch look like a face, or I'm always like I wish I had a water soluble pencil to just go draw on the wall. I have the same prob. I had to find hobbies that aren't on paper or requires extra stuff, like fossils or birding. I can't just be out in nature and learn stuff. Yeah, you do photos though. Photos are great because you already have your camera and they're digital photos, so they don't really. I don't really see them as being too anxiety inducing for that. The app I use has really good paper text features, but it's still not the same. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen a couple of artists that would straight up like start with like it can be like a brown paper bag you got from the grocery store with all the crinkles in that. And you just put that as your blank canvas and draw on it. Which still is not quite the same, especially if you have a colored paper as a sort of backdrop, but can be really interesting as a starting point. Oh, that's a fair point, Cleo. I think I need to get back out into the world and nature and see new things and form new brain connections. I got into the habit of being inside all the time in lockdown. Yeah. Yeah, as hermit introverts, when they told us that, oh, but you have to stay at home, I think a bunch of us went, awesome. Like, ultimately, the situation was dire and terrible, but to be told to stay indoors as a hermit introvert is really not the worst thing you can be told. Like, beats the opposite, you know. And yeah, so whereas before you would be sort of forced to go outside, like social pressure to try and not be too much of an hermit introvert, with lockdown, all that took the quick way out the window. Do you mean sealing the door from the inside wasn't required? Yep. I don't always take my camera out though. Sometimes it's just good to be out there. Yeah. I miss a more natural nature spot near me. Everything like in a big city like Montreal is kind of what's the word? Tempered with a bit. Like everything is human made to be nature, if you know what I mean. Like you don't get a lot of it that is just left on its own to do its thing. And I kind of miss that. For me, I see something cool, then take a pic and forget it. Maybe when I feel the urge to take a photo, I should sketch it instead. Or have a better system for looking at your photos, maybe. Hermit introvert right here. Yeah, here too. People were like, but I want to go out, up. I mean, I feel bad for them because I understand their struggle when they like people don't like being inside all the time, and it makes them depressed and all that, and they need the interaction with people. But I was like, oh, you don't need to worry about that for me. I'm fine. Even if it meant like I was used to being on my own for most of the weekdays back when work weeks would require uh, Mr. E to go to work, like would require Guillaume to go to work for the whole work week. So when lockdown happened and he was at home all the time, that was a bit weird in the beginning, but like I'm kind of I don't have much of a choice but to be okay with it anyway, so lockdown was very, very hard on me. I'm very extrovert and I love people, and it was poor Jen. I can totally see how that would be very difficult. It's really sad, and it's like I don't know. I'll forever be disappointed that not more people took it seriously in a way. Like even the people who were like, "Oh, COVID is a hoax," whatever. It's like, fine, then just do the thing they ask you to do so that the whole situation can end sooner and it can be easier on everyone. No one enjoys wearing a mask. Duh. Hello, doesn't take that much of brain power to figure that out, but if people bothered to wear the mask more, it would have ended sooner. And then all the people who were really miserable in lockdown, they would have had opportunities to get out sooner. You know. Not so much anymore, but I'm a lonely painter. I live in a box of paint. Hey, Yuri! Hi! Hub's had to go out of the country this week and may have to go again next week, and I love him. But I'm like, yay! Oh, I get it. It's just the way like introverts work. That alone time gives you like the space to reset, to refuel your energy, to just like it's a bit like you're being always pushed to a certain level above your normal, and when you get some alone time you can just let that chill out. It gets a bit lower, it gets closer. Like if you're too alone, I mean, even introverts being alone all the time is possibly not ideal. Like it's great to have a couple of interactions with other people every once in a while, but the fact that you're an introvert, all that means is that if you interact with people, it drains your energy. It doesn't mean that you don't ever want to interact with people, So yeah, basically I get it, Box of Paint. You still need people to charge your battery, your backup battery. And you just need the right kind of people, I'm so used to wearing a mask now. I'm still wearing mine. Oh, me too. Makes it easier to make faces at folks. Makes it easier to make grimaces and whatnot. Covers better the cases of bad breath. Like when you don't think about it before heading out. It's good if you have like a zit on the lower part of your face. And it's great not to smell other people's fart all the time, Small doses of peeps help. It takes the right kind of peeps, but I agree. Like it's good for creativity to talk about stuff with other people. Don't have to worry about potential boogers. Yeah, if you have a big ass cold and you're all boogery, well, not only do you like prevent other people from catching it with a mask, but yeah, you can hide your like crusty, dry out, broken nose behind it. I'm going to miss masks. I'm gonna wear them forever, I think. I don't care. I absolutely don't care. Oh, why are you wearing a mask? I have a cold. Even if I don't have one, like, I stick my tongue out at people. Oh man. Yep. It's good if you have like bad allergies too and you have to take a hike outside, or maybe not a full hike, but you know, you have to go out and it's allergy season and it's a bad pollen day. Well, that will help you feel a bit better. Like, I really don't get this idea that masks are the worst thing ever. Like, fine, you don't want to wear one all the time, that's okay, but they can be pretty useful in certain circumstances. I literally don't even hear anything about COVID anymore in my country. I find it weird. I know it's still out there. Tell me the news. Yeah, that it hasn't gone away. Oh my gosh, it's been amazing for allergies. I mean, you have other countries out there where people wear masks regularly for a bunch of reasons. Oh, there's a dust storm coming down. Well, everybody wears masks. Oh, I have a cold. I'm gonna wear a mask on the transit. It's just a thing. I don't know why freaking white people, sorry, but had to make such a big freaking mess of it. Just put the stupid mask on your face! I don't get it. What a great timeline, right? Love it. Oh, she has switched. Cat has switched position again. They do that so sneakily. I don't get it. I never hear anything, and then I look at her and she's like in another weird position that makes absolutely no sense. All of the things I grew up being afraid of at home and to slowly let go of those fears are now back. Oh. I'm so sorry, Bucks of Pain. That's such a fucked up timeline to be in, honestly. I don't want to get too political because it's not exactly a fun topic. But I was kind of glad to see that human garbage Andrew Tate finally getting hit with the stick. Like, can we stop? Like, can we stop letting these toxic people do just whatever they want? Regardless of the fact that humans live in society and they have to be around other humans. Like, what's the fuck? Sorry. Please tell this rant again to my dad. When we have to wear a mask, he refuses to put it on properly, so he's letting his nose run loose. Well, one thing you can do if your dad does that, you can find out I think there's a couple of versions, but there's a meme. There's a meme where you have people comparing like all the wrong ways of wearing a mask to someone wearing their underwear wrong. So like the people who will let their nose will only put it over their mouth. It's like people, well, it's usually a dude like wearing his underwear but having his wiener out. And it might be a good like comparison of imagery to get someone who, like, you can say, do you really want to look like that dick face? Is that the look you really want to? Do you really want to let people see you as if you were the dude that didn't wear his underwear right? So there can be kind of a bit of a weight in that argument there. There are some really less than smart people there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are so many other good reasons to wear a mask. I agree, Cleo. Allergies, flu season, public transit, going to the movies. But I feel like people are looking at me funny when I still wear. Me too, but that's not gonna stop me, I think. I will say, mask for people with bigger noses look troublesome. Really? I've seen more people struggling, like more like overweight people, because when your chin gets larger, it's a bit more difficult to keep the mask in place when you talk, and it tends to slide over the nose more. But yeah, you can get the N95 masks. There are some that are more roomy, instead of just the small like surgery style masks. I love that meme, it's great. My dad will unfortunately just shrug and keep making excuses. Put super glue in his mask. And put it over his nose. Like, there you go. Sorry. I was thinking about that underwear thing. It doesn't matter anyway, nobody cares. Well, Dad, I care, and we're in a oh my gosh, in a hospital too? Dude, come on! Like, if people is outside, out and about, and they go like, I don't want to wear my mask, nobody cares, you're like, okay, at least you're outside. But in a hospital? Like, even without COVID, I kind of want to wear a mask when I go in the hospital. If it's not to protect other people, it's also for the selfish reason to protect myself. Like, do you want to catch like something that someone has had to go to the hospital for? Do you really want to, risk that? Don't make me get the staple gun, mister. Ka-kunk, ka-kunk, there you go. Right before the pandemic, my mother was having treatment regularly at the hospital, and I was already wearing masks to protect other patients there when I thought I had the flu. Yeah! Which was okay because it wasn't the flu. Bum, bum, bum. Oh my god, did you really catch COVID in the beginning of it? Yikes. Not fun. That was super stressful. It's just, I don't know. I struggle a lot with this sort of notion of being, I don't know how to describe it, maybe self-centered. Like, I don't particularly like other people in general either, and I don't particularly want to go out of my way for their sake. But I also recognize that we live in close proximity in a society, and I gotta be careful about what I do when out and about, so as to protect other people, and hopefully they will do the same for me. I don't get it. I absolutely do not get it. Like, who enjoys being coughed on in the subway? No one. Wear a stupid mask. Jeez, it's not rocket science. What the I caught COVID in January 2020. Oh no. Oh. Well, I mean, you're past that. Did you end up getting any long COVID kind of effect? Because that would extra suck. But it was super stressful in the beginning. Like, everybody was losing their collective mind over it because they didn't know what to expect, what the side effects were, what the odds were, what the outcomes were, like how to test for it, how it like travels. Is it airborne? Is it touch related? I don't know. Now you have to go to the hospital just to get the mask off. That will show him. Can't never remove it. You have to wait until the glue, like until your skin renews and the glue just falls off with dead skin cells. I have some strange symptoms that might be long COVID, but I haven't really looked into it because it's relatively minor. Okay. At least there's that. Oh, also, you guys will be able to relate to that, but one of the most trippy thing that I heard during this whole these COVID years, like as a whole, is when you had young adults or older teens possibly going into spring break parties, and the boomers were still blaming the millennials for that. It's like, Mr. Boomer, you kind of need to update your maths on this. Like 20-somethings, like early 20s people are not millennials now. That was 20 years ago. You know? It cracked me up so bad in a terrible kind of way. I was like, oh, jeez. No, stop it. Stop it. So that was the part that kind of like cracked me up. All of us 40 plus partying at the beach. Yeah. All of us like spring break wildly with our kids in tow. I don't know, with our mortgage and cars. Definitely. With our avocado toasts. Boomers will be blaming anyone but themselves. So yeah, partying while in a pandemic ain't a smart move. No, definitely not. Like, it was a stupid move, but I was so thrown off that maybe it was just that one dude, but the boomer guy was like, oh, it's the millennials. And I was like, dude, do your maths. The millennials are not partying for spring break. They don't have spring break anymore. They're not in school. They have jobs and houses and kids and cars to pay, you know? Not me, as I have to be in bed early. Oh! Yeah. In my long t-shirt covering my bathing suit for sure. Misgenerationing. Oh, yeah, like hardcore. It wasn't like a very damaging thing, but it still cracked me up because it was like, again, it's for the same reason that I can't never stop bringing up the avocado toast nonsense. Just so stupid. Like, oh, you're biased. Do you remember the avocado toast thing? It must have been like 10 years old at this point, if not more. But I'm like, how did that person had that thought and nothing else came to challenge that thought? Like, oh no, you're spending all your money on avocado toast, which is why you can't afford a house. And you're like, time out, okay? One avocado, if you're particularly out of season and it's hard to acquire where you're at, which probably means you don't eat it that much. But anyway, I feel like $5 for a single avocado is kind of pricey, okay? Let's say $6 for a single avocado. A slice of bread is kind of a negligible cost at that point, even if it's like a nice, real bakery bread. So the costly thing on there is the avocado. Whatever else is there is like often salt, pepper, pepper flakes, like chili pepper, and that's about the extent, or maybe some lemon juice, like very expensive lemon juice. So basically, even if you pay like $14 at a restaurant for that stupid avocado toast, how much does a very boomer steak cost at a restaurant? Like, are you kidding me? Ultimately, a stupid avocado toast, I feel, has a much lesser impact in terms of prices, in terms of ecology, in terms of everything, than your stupid freaking steak. So, what are you even talking about? Ugh! We were busy finding out we didn't like our other halves after spending more than 10 minutes with them. Millions having houses in this economy. Some of them got lucky, I guess. Everything younger than a boomer is a kid, right? Person told us to buy a new kettle and save £10 on energy. What did he get? What the fuck? Did he really say that? How stupid is that? I remember an article that said millennials aren't buying diamonds as much as older generations. Yeah, no shit. What? What? I can think of a couple of reasons just like that not to buy diamonds. Money being one of them, but also like blood diamonds? Why? Do you think some of that boomer nonsense comes from the fact that perhaps the younger generation are a bit more aware of the awful practices behind that stuff? And they're kind of like, yeah, I don't want to support that. So boomers are like, how dare you make me feel bad about that? I'll say that you suck. I don't know. Oh no, Cleo! So, well, I mean, since you're widely allergic to avocado, and as a millennial, that probably means you have a house by now, and a bunch of diamonds, and 3 cars, right? Since you saved so much money on those avocado toasts, am I right? Which means there's a really long sub-list of things you are also allergic to. Really? I don't mean with latex allergy, and anything related to a rubber plant is deadly. Oh, really? Is that all connected? It's easier to criticize others than to change their own ways. It's the same like the vegetarian joke I've heard a million times. Vegetarians eat the food, so my food doesn't have anything. What? Oh my gosh. That's painful. I'll be right there. Please put the kettle on. The new one. The one that will save £10 per year. Can you imagine if everybody did like, oh wow, awesome, let's all change our kettles. The absurd amount of kettles that still work that would be in a landfill. How can anybody say that? And just... Also £10, who kids... Like, going to the restaurant costs more than that. Who... Ah! Lol, yes, my house is made of diamonds. Straight up. Vegetarians run the environment because all the soy they eat. Without realizing most of the soy is grown for food. Yeah, same with corn. I mean, we grow so much corn. And not all for eating. Bananas, avocado were the big ones, but things like elastic and gloves. Oh, really? Whoa. Like, I will react, like my skin will react to certain types of adhesives, and I think latex a bit. But it's not that level. I can eat avocado and bananas and I'm completely fine, but oh my gosh, that sounds dreadful. It's not like super clear. You really have to do research to figure out what that entails. Oh, wow. Not cool. Because it has no connection to reality, it has no idea of what life costs. And never has, yeah, well. Couldn't be a politician if he did, right? My allergy discovery was pretty traumatic, I have to say. Oh no. Isn't it the thing that people allergic to kiwis are also allergic to some type of latex as well? Whoa, really? Kiwi is definitely on the list. How about pineapple? It was guacamole that sent us down the... Do you want to share a bit about your discovery, Cleo? But it's fine if you don't want to... If it's too traumatic, that's perfectly fine to not elaborate. So what brings you into the ER today? Guacamole. I mean, not funny, but kind of funny too. It's a kind of... You kind of need to expand, like, guacamole. Okay, please explain. You know, you cannot just go, what brings you to the ER today? Car crash. You go, okay, fine, get it. Let's go this way. It's had always made his mouth itch, but the thought that was the pizzazz of, okay, they thought that was the pizzazz of avocado. Like, avocado is itchy. I was at a dinner party and I heaped a lot of avocado on my plate to be polite. I don't remember a lot after that. Oh no. Eep. No fun time. The stuff we do to be polite, am I right? I once had this conversation. What brings you to the ER? I tripped over an anvil and he got hit in the throat with the... Yeah, okay. That's... Yeah, that's... Gee, I hope it wasn't too bad. Like, hit in the throat with a broadsword doesn't sound like a good moment. Regardless. We all recovered. That's good. That's good. Thank God I'm not allergic to any kind of food. Yeah, you would be miserable, Paulo. But, I mean, it always looks awful from the perspective of not having allergies. But the moment you have allergies and you have to deal with them, it's really not that bad, you know? It looks worse from the outside than it is from the inside, in my opinion. Because if you're able to control your environment, you will find other stuff that is enjoyable. Generally. You know, just from my experience, but yeah. I think I'm past my NDA by now, but I worked in the media department for an ER, and we had Barney the purple dino come in after his head burst into flames at the park. Oh my gosh, what? That must have been a weird birthday party. Can you remember for a really long time? Hopefully not too traumatic. Motor for the fan had shortened. Oh, you mean it caught fire from the inside? Oh, it looks like something from straight out of that Smoochie movie. Can you imagine witnessing that? The poor person inside, oh my gosh. Dude was totally fine, but I'm sure the kids are still in therapy. Oh man! That's so bad, but so funny at the same time. It's just the mental image of that, like trying to picture it. Like having this scene where you're like, hey Barney, boop, boop, boof! Ah! Oh, okay. Funny and traumatic, great. When I was the when I was the Hello Kitty mascot for Sanrio, I was always terrified the head would come on. Yeah, because I mean, Kitty, she doesn't talk really. So it can be anyone in Hello Kitty. You know, the head comes off and you just like go full turtle. You just like retract your head in the body of the extra trauma. Okay, maybe I should The idea of a fishing hook. Yeah, that doesn't sound like ugh. Ugh. Yeah. I had a friend who was studying to be in fashion design, and she was I don't know why she was doing that, but she was super exhausted and she was still sewing for like projects, and she sewed like in her finger, and the needle like hit the bone and broke inside. So they had to like completely drug her so she would be completely out of it, and remove the nail and scrape underneath to remove the exploded needle. And I was just like, nope, I'm good. I've always looked at the sewing machine a bit askew ever since that happened. I was like, you look inoffensive, but I know the kind of shenanigans you can pull. I'm 5'10", so was almost 7 feet tall. Whoa, yeah, no way any kid could, unless you really like lay down on the floor maybe. But it was all hands. I wasn't allowed to talk to the people walking me along. I had to do weird arm sign language when I needed things. The idea of a giant kitty is making me wheeze. I'm delighted that you were the Hello Kitty mascot, but it sounds like, first of all, you sweat buckets in there, and then it's an exhausting workout. I did it for the discount and would happily do it again. I mean, it doesn't sound like the worst. Like, doesn't sound like the worst mascot job available out there. Said brother has had worse. Last year he got a chainsaw against his hand while it was moving, so the hook's pretty. Oh, yeah, I remember the chainsaw thing from last year. Ugh. Why, brother? Stop! Enough! Careful. Hey, it's almost closer to 5 than we are to 4 at this point, so. Well, I want to thank you guys for allowing me this space to talk about this art crisis thingamajig, and also for all your ideas and suggestions and sharing what works for you. I gotta keep this like in my sight all the time, and I think it's really gonna help. Like the stream last weekend also really helped. I can't recall what we mentioned particularly, but there was something in there that I kept with me throughout the whole week except today apparently, and it really helped me like be in a better headspace throughout the week than I was last Saturday. So yeah, I guess we will have another one next Saturday, unless it's like a gajillion degrees and I cannot like function because it's too hot, which so done. Can we please move on to fall, please? Please. Said brother is very handy, but does not think things through. Oh my gosh. I heard California is 126 degrees today. What the fudge? Thank you so much and hope you're fine. Thank you so much for chatting with me, guys. Always incredibly fun and helpful, and yeah, I really enjoy doing the live streams. We always have a great time. Everybody please be careful with your hands, fingers, toes, and avocados. Noted. Alright guys, see you all next Saturday. Thanks again for being here today. And yeah, I hope you don't end up suffering the 126 Fahrenheit of California. That sounds like completely nightmarish. And hopefully everybody can sort of roll into fall soon and be comfy. And yeah, see you guys next time. Have a great weekend, and thanks again. Bye.